when I first reread One Piece, and by reread I mean I read the whole thing through, and got to Marineford, I was very shocked, excuse me, Impel Down rather, right before Marineford, to see Crocodile again. And the reason for that is because I've understood the trope of shonen that when a main villain is defeated, they usually have no role to play in the story after that whatsoever. And I assume the same would be the case with One Piece, even though unlike other series such as Dragon Ball or Naruto, where they kill off the main antagonist at the end of the arc, um, while they might keep them alive, they usually don't bring them back. So this was the case with Arlong, with Don Krieg, with Kuro, and even though we did see some flashbacks of Arlong later on explaining some more stuff about his backstory, to be fair. But, I was expecting to never see Crocodile, at least in the main story, anymore after he was defeated in Alabasta. And he showed up, and they, Oda did such a good job with him that I think I have to explain and highlight what I was talking about. So there are some fans of shonen that believe using the same villain more than once is part of a pattern called diminishing returns, where a foe is hit with the Wharf effect, um, either in terms of their power, like they're easily defeated compared to how difficult they were in the past, or when it comes to the diminishing returns aspect of it, they're just someone who restates the same plan. So if Crocodile, when reappearing, goes, "I will go back to Alabasta and try to conquer it again," which, ironically enough, while this is something that's fresh for his character that he doesn't end up doing that again, we actually do kind of have a second Alabasta with Dressrosa. That's why for a long time I used to call it a poor man's Alabasta, but this isn't the place to talk about that arc. Talk about this great character. So he's given a new goal, which is to take Whitebeard's head. Um, he is pretty much as strong as he was before, because even though, like, this, it's very clever what they do. They surround Crocodile with all of the strongest characters in the series up to that point. Effectively, you got the three admirals, you know, Garp, Sengoku, the Whitebeard pirates, all the warlords, effectively. And in putting him around the other powerful antagonist, or the current powerful antagonist, they eliminate, and not having him get beaten or knocked out by any of them, they eliminate the Wharf effect. Oda effectively does that, where he still is as intimidating, if not more. If anything, it retroactively makes Luffy's defeat of him an even bigger accomplishment, because he was weaker. He had no gear first or second or third or any of that, and then was able to still defeat a warlord. And then when you look at the other warlords during this conflict, who are all, with the exception of Mihawk and Crocodile, and I guess to an extent Doflamingo, we really didn't see him fight anybody before that, who are all basically being introduced to us for the first time, it makes Crocodile look even stronger than he did during the arc where he was the main villain. But to kind of go back to his arc during this arc, he wants to take Whitebeard's head, but then when he sees him get stabbed, knowing that Whitebeard used to be able to be someone that could dodge attacks like that, uh, he no longer wants to do that. And he has a character arc. His goal is completed without being completed. You understand why he no longer has an interest in doing that. So, when you consider those things, it's a really, it's not simple to take a main villain of an arc. Like, there are recurring villains in comic books for, the United States, for example, but generally speaking, those opponents, while they may look intimidating the first time around, second, third, if they're used repeatedly, they do kind of start looking like, oh, it's just another round of battling with this person. Um, but with Crocodile, I can truly say that Marineford, and just, I guess, the whole saga getting there, did a lot for his character, because it showed he was intimidating by having him stuck in the prison that nobody had ever escaped for before that arc. Um, Having him be a very effective ally who has like an interesting dynamic with, like, if anything, I would kind of compare it to the Tournament of Power from Dragon Ball Super with Frieza, where it's a like villain that is your ally, and it's kind of like interesting because you don't know what they're gonna do. although probably not like it's a precursor for that, but I see parallels where it's an antagonist from an earlier part of the series coming back to play like a protagonist or ally type of role. And Crocodile proved himself to be very useful, even though he's used fleetingly, um, because he establishes a little bit more of history with Doflamingo, a character that at that point we knew very little about. Um, and he also gives us some more insight, along with Marco, because Marco elaborates on it as well, into the declining powers of Whitebeard, which is foreshadowing of how the war is going to go with, his health issues. Um, there's just so much they do with him, and it's like he's not even the main character of the arc, of the main antagonist, but he's very useful, and who could forget him saving Luffy and Jinbei from Sakazuki. And it's funny to just think about how a villain that tried to kill Luffy twice saved his life. I guess technically three times if you count the third battle, but tried to kill him multiple times, saved his life, not because he's developed some strong affinity for Luffy, because that would have been bad writing in my opinion, to have him like now suddenly be, oh, I care so much about Luffy and this is my new friend, just like very quickly. Like that was one of the problems I had with Hancock, that she just very quickly goes from cold toward Luffy to, oh, you also don't like the Tenryubito? Well, I don't like them either. Um, that was like one of the issues I had with her character. But just with Crocodile, you can completely buy the idea that, yeah, he may not like Luffy that much or at all, but he hates the world government way more, because first they stripped him of his title, then they put him in the worst prison in the world, so if he can make them like not be successful, he'll do it. And that's what really just makes the like psychology of his character so interesting, because when you think about it, like Ivankov is there to protect Dragon's son, Luffy. Luffy is there to save his brother. The Marines are trying to stop the Whitebeard pirates from stopping them from killing Ace. The Whitebeard pirates are there to save Ace because he's a member of their crew. Crocodile is literally there just to either stick his middle finger in the face of the people that threw him out after he broke their laws with regard to the Marines, or to try and make himself a big pirate again by going after Whitebeard. Like his motives are so unique compared to all the other major characters of the arc. Like all the other ones you can fit in one or two boxes, and he's all over the place. His goals shift and swerve, and it's all in line with his character. Because you saw him do this during Alabasta, where he like very quickly turned on Robin after she had been his partner for years. So we know it's in his character just like make this quick shift to go do something else that is strategically in favor of him. That's why I said I really hope if we do get a third arc with Crocodile as a main character, um, we get to see what he's been up to, because it's been a long time since they used him. But he's just a really good. I want to do a video just explaining why he's probably, in my opinion, the best villain of the whole series. Um, and number two would probably be I'd say Arlong, because he's like the only character that really terrorized a Straw Hat for years. So I would say that like those two are probably my favorite villains, just as villains. But if like my actual favorite antagonist is probably Big Mom, because I've described stuff with her before, but I'll do a video on that as well. But yeah, Crocodile was handled brilliantly in Marineford. And it's a really good example of how to make an antagonist that on surface level, right? Like I read Alabasta. This is the end of Crocodile. He's got nowhere to go. He's been defeated. This is his final appearance in the story. How to take an antagonist that it looked like there was nowhere else to go with, and make him interesting, and make him actively contribute to the grander plot of the story. It's such a, like I don't try to come on here and make Oda sound like the greatest writer ever, but there's like a lot of people who I don't think when something's not explained to them really get why a story, in my opinion, is well written. And there's a lot of things you can unpack with Crocodile's character alone in Marineford, not even counting all the other stuff that happens there, that explains why that story is well written. And especially why his character is one of the best in the series, and why he's ranked as one of the most popular villains, him and Doflamingo, who I could do a whole several hours worth of videos on why Dressrosa is It's something I like, but it's very flawed. So I thank those who watch this to the end, and have a good day.